Locus Classicus cases, Nigeria and UK, Regina versus Jogee 2016, joint enterprise. Fact, defendant encouraged principal offender. Issue, is foresight sufficient for liability? Decision, law corrected. Ratio, foresight is evidence, not intent itself. Regina versus Evans 2009, EWCA, Crim 650, Omissions, duty of care. Facts, sister supplied heroin to half-sister who self-administered and died. Issue, can supplying drugs with knowledge of danger impose liability? Decision, conviction upheld. Ratio, duty arises when D creates or contributes to dangerous situation. Aminu Tanko versus State 2009, 4 NWLR, Part 1131, 430 SC Nigeria, Actus Reus and mens rea. Facts, accused charged with culpable homicide. Issue, must both elements coexist? Decision, yes. Ratio, both acts and intent required. Regina versus Kennedy, number 2, 2007, UKHL 38, drug supply. Causation. Facts, supplier provided heroin, victim self-injected and died. Issue, does voluntary act break chain of causation? Decision, conviction quashed. Ratio, victim's voluntary and informed act severs liability for supplier. Prest versus Petrodel Resources Limited 2013, UK SC 34, piercing the corporate veil. Facts, husband transferred assets to companies during divorce proceedings. Issue, when may court pierce the veil? Decision, limited circumstances. Ratio, veil may be pierced to prevent evasion of existing legal obligations. Okewu versus FRN 2012, LPELR 7834, SC Nigeria, ingredients of offense. Facts, conviction challenged. Issue, must all ingredients be proved? Decision, yes. Ratio, failure to prove one element fatal. Regina versus Hinks 2002, AC 561 HR, UK, theft. Facts, vulnerable man gifted money. Issue, can gift amount to theft? Decision, yes. Ratio, consent does not prevent appropriation. Fawehinmi versus Abacha 2000, 6 NWLR, Part 60, 228 SC Nigeria, fundamental rights. Facts, detention under military decree challenged. Issue, can international treaties aid constitutional interpretation? Decision, yes, where domesticated. Ratio, African Charter enforceable as part of Nigerian law. Regina versus DPP, ex parte 2000, 2 AC 326 UK, human rights retrospective law. Facts, conviction under retrospective law challenged. Issue, is retrospective criminalization compatible with human rights? Decision, retrospective law incompatible, appeal allowed. Ratio, Article 7 ECHR forbids retroactive criminal law. Lister versus Hesley Hall Limited 2001, UKHL 22, vicarious liability. Facts, when sexually abused children in boarding house. Warden has sexually abused children in boarding house. Issue, when is employer vicariously liable? Decision, employer liable. Ratio, employer liable where tort is closely connected to employment. Regina versus Martin, 2001, EWCA, CRIM 2245 in the UK. Self-defense. Facts. Defendant shot intruders in his house. Issue, is excessive force permissible under self-defense? Decision, conviction quashed. Ratio, honest belief in danger allows force. Jury considers circumstances and perception. Regina versus Wooling, 1999. 1 AC 82 HL. Oblique intention. Facts. Defendant threw baby onto hard surface, causing death. Issue. When can foresight equal intention? Decision. Appeal dismissed. Ratio. If death or serious harm is a virtual certainty and defendant appreciates that, jury may find intention. Regina versus Ireland, 1998. AC 147 HL. Assault. Psychiatric harm. Defendant made repeated silent phone calls causing psychiatric injury. Issue. Can silent calls amount to assault? Decision. Conviction upheld. Ratio. Assault includes causing fear of immediate unlawful violence. Psychiatric injury actionable. Regina versus Bostow, 1997, 4 ALLER 225 HL. Inflicting grievous bodily harm. Facts. Harassment causes severe depression. Issue. Can psychiatric injury be GBH? Decision. Conviction upheld. Ratio. Psychiatric injury recognized as bodily harm under Section 20 Offences Against the Person Act 1861. Regina versus Kennedy, 1997, 3 WLR 930 UK. Supply of drugs. Causation. Facts. Defendant supplied heroin. Victim self-injected and died. Issue. Does victim's voluntary act break causation? Decision. Conviction quashed. Ratio. Voluntary and informed act of victim severs chain of causation. Regina versus Wilson, 1996. 1 WLR 946. CA. Consent. Facts. Husband branded initials on wife's buttocks with consent. Issue. Is consent a defense? Decision. Conviction overturned. Ratio. Bodily harm within private consensual acts may be lawful. Regina versus Adomako, 1995. 1 AC 171 UK. Gross negligence manslaughter. Facts. Anesthetist failed to notice disconnected tube. Patient died. Issue. When does negligence become criminal? Decision. Conviction upheld. Ratio. Gross negligence sufficient for manslaughter if duty of care breached with risk of death. Regina versus Brown, 1993, 2 ALLER 75 UK. Consent in assault. Facts. Adults consented to sadomasochistic acts causing injury. Issue. Is consent a defense? Decision. Convictions upheld. Ratio. Public policy prohibits consent as defense for APH or more serious injury in non-therapeutic context. The Crown versus R, 1991, 4 ALLER 481 UK. Marital rape. Facts. Husband forced wife to have sexual intercourse. Issue. Can a husband be guilty of raping his wife? Decision. Conviction upheld. Ratio. Marital exception abolished. consent required within marriage. Vicarious versus State 1987, 1 NWLR, Part 52, 759 SC, Nigeria. Proof beyond reasonable doubt. Facts. Conviction challenge for insufficiency of evidence. Issue: what standard applies in criminal trials? Decision: conviction set aside. Ratio: prosecution must prove guilt beyond reasonable doubt. Beckford versus R, 1998, AC 130 PC UK, self-defense. Facts. A police officer shot and killed a suspect, believing the suspect was armed. Issue: must the belief in danger be reasonable? Decision: appeal allowed. Ratio: a defendant may use reasonable force if he honestly believes is in imminent danger, even if mistaken. Regina versus Hesley, 1989, 1 WLR 287 CA, UK, insanity. Facts. Diabetic drove in a hyperglycemic state. Issue: insanity or automatism. Decision: insanity. Ratio: internal factors fall under insanity. Regina versus Morris, 1984, AC 320 HL, theft appropriation. Facts. Switch price labels in supermarket. Issue: when does appropriation occur? Decision: conviction upheld. Ratio: appropriation occurs when assuming rights of owner. Council of Civil Service Unions versus Minister for the Civil Service, 1985, AC 384 HL, UK, Judicial Review. Facts. Ban on trade union membership imposed for national security. Issue: is prerogative power reviewable? Decision: yes, subject to limitations. Ratio: prerogative powers are reviewable except where national security precludes review. Regina versus Howe, 1987, AC 417 HL, duress. Facts. Defendant committed murder under threats. Issue: is duress defense to murder? Decision: no. Ratio: duress not available for murder. Regina versus Shibpuri, 1987, AC1 HL, criminal attempt. Facts. Defendant believed he was importing drugs, but substance was harmless. Issue: is impossibility a defense? Decision: conviction upheld. Ratio: impossibility is not a defense to attempt if intent exists. Backnor McLean versus Inlax Limited, 1980, 8/11 SC1, Nigeria. Judicial precedent. Facts. Issue: on binding nature of Supreme Court decisions. Issue: is Supreme Court bound by its previous decisions? Decision: generally yes, but depart in exceptional cases. Ratio: doctrine of stare decisis ensures certainty but allows flexibility. Adesanya versus President of Nigeria, 1981, 5 SC 112, Locus Standi. Plaintiff. Facts. Plaintiff challenged Senate appointment procedure. Issue: what constitutes sufficient interest? Decision: claim dismissed. Ratio: plaintiff must show personal interest beyond general public concern. Lorry versus State, 1980, 8/11 SC 81, Nigeria. Circumstantial evidence. Facts. Conviction based solely on circumstantial evidence. Issue. When is such evidence sufficient? Decision. Conviction upheld. Ratio. Circumstantial evidence must be cogent and point irresistibly to guilt. Ego versus State, 1978. 3 SC H7, Nigeria. Confession. Facts. Accused retracted confession at trial. Issue. Is retracted confession admissible? Decision. Yes. Ratio. Court may convict on voluntary confession if satisfied of its truth. Lorry versus State, 1980. 8/11 SC 81. Circumstantial evidence. Facts. Conviction based on circumstantial evidence. Issue. When is circumstantial evidence sufficient? Decision. Conviction upheld. Ratio. Evidence must point irresistibly to guilt. Regina versus Tombu, 1977. QB 224CA, UK. Identification. Facts. Conviction based on visual ID. Issue. Safeguards for identification. Decision. Guidelines laid down. Jury. Ratio. Jury must be warned of ID dangers. DPP versus Morgan, 1976. AC182HL, UK. Mistake. Facts. Defendants claimed mistaken belief in consent. Issue. Must belief be reasonable? Decision. Honest belief sufficient. Ratio. Mistake need only be honest. Regina versus Blue, 1975. 1 WLR 1411 CA, UK. Causation. Things called rule. Facts. Victim refused blood transfusion on religious grounds and died. Issue. Did refusal break the chain of causation? Decision. Conviction upheld. Ratio. Things called rule applies. Refusal does not break causation. Regina versus Quick, 1973. QB 910 CA, UK. Automatism. Facts. Hypoglycemia after insulin injection. Issue. External or internal cause. Decision. Automatism. Ratio. External factors support automatism. Tesco Supermarkets Limited versus Natras, 1972. AC153HL. Corporate liability. Facts. Misleading advertisement by store manager. Issue. Whose acts bind company? Decision. Company not liable. Ratio. Only directing mind and will can fix liability. Regina versus Smith. Thomas Joseph, 1974. QB 354, UK. Homicide. Provocation. Facts. D killed wife's lover. Issue. Can provocation reduce murder to manslaughter? Decision. Appeal dismissed. Ratio. Provocation must be sudden and temporary. Long-standing jealousy insufficient. Regina versus Smith, 1959. 2. QB 35 CA. Causation. Facts. Victim dropped twice during treatment and died. Issue. Did medical negligence break chain? Decision. Conviction upheld. Ratio. Only overwhelming intervening acts break causation. Regina versus Jordan, 1956. 40 CRO. APPR 152 CA. Causation. Facts: grossly negligent medical treatment after stab wound. Issue: did treatment break chain? Decision: conviction quashed. Ratio: palpably wrong treatment can break causation. Regina versus Duffy 1949 1 all ER 932 UK. Provocation. Facts: wife killed abusive husband after prolonged violence. Issue: what constitutes provocation? Decision: define provocation. Ratio: provocation is a sudden and temporary loss of self-control. Central London Property Trust Limited versus High Trees House Limited 1947 KB 130 UK. Promissory estoppel. Facts: landlord reduced rent during wartime, later claimed full arrears. Issue: can promise be enforced without consideration? Decision: estoppel applied. Ratio: a clear promise intended to be relied upon and relied upon is binding in equity. Wilmington versus DPP 1935 AC 462 HL UK. Burden of proof. Facts: the accused shot his wife and claimed accident. The trial judge directed that he must prove accident. Issue: who bears the burden of proof? Decision: conviction quashed. Ratio: the prosecution must prove guilt beyond reasonable doubt. Presumption of innocence is the golden thread. Donoghue versus Stevenson 1932 AC 562 HL UK. Negligent duty of care. Facts: snail found in ginger beer bottle. Issue: is manufacturer liable to consumer? Decision: yes. Ratio: neighbor principle establishes duty of care. McNaughton's case 1843 10 CL and Finn 200 UK. Insanity. Facts: defendant killed believing victim persecuted him. Issue: test for insanity. Decision: establish rules. Ratio: defendant must not know nature or wrongness of act due to defect of reason. Rylands versus Fletcher 1868 LR3 HL 330 UK. Strict liability. Facts: reservoir burst flooding mine. Issue: liability without fault. Decision: yes. Ratio: non-natural use causing escape leads to strict liability. Tweedle versus Atkinson 1861 1B and S 393 UK. Privity of contract. Fact: groom sued on promise made between fathers. Issue: can third party enforce contract? Decision: no. Ratio: only parties to contract may sue on it. Williams versus Hensman 1861 1J and H 546 UK. Topic: severance of joint tenancy. Facts: dispute over co-ownership after breakdown of relationship. Issue: how can joint tenancy be severed? Decision: three methods recognized. Ratio: severance occurs by act of a joint tenant. 2. Mutual agreement. 3. Course of dealing. Regina versus Pemberton 1874 LR2 CCR 119 UK. Mens rea, mistaken object. First, threw stone intending to kill person but broke window instead. Issue: can malice transfer to unintended object? Decision: conviction upheld. Ratio: intent to harm person does not transfer to property. Regina versus Latimer, 1886, 17 QBD 359 UK. Transferred malice. Facts: defendant intended to hit one person but struck another. Issue: does intent transfer to actual victim? Decision: conviction upheld. Ratio: malice transfer to the person actually harmed. Kali versus Carbonic Smoke Bug Co. 1893, 1 QB 2F6 CA UK. Unilateral offer. Facts: company promised rewards to users who contracted influenza. Issue: was advertisement a binding offer? Decision: yes. Ratio: clear promise with intention to be bound constitutes offer. Salomon versus Salomon and Co. Limited, 1897, AC22 HL UK. Separate legal personality. Facts: sole trader incorporated business and became secured creditor. Issue: is company separate from its members? Decision: yes. Ratio: a properly incorporated company is a Dixon legal person. The Wagon Man number 1, 1961, AC 388 PC UK. Remoteness of damage. Facts: only negligently discharged into oil, negligently discharged into harbor, ignited and caused fire damage. Issue: is a defendant liable for all direct consequences? Decision: appeal allowed. Ratio: a defendant is only liable for damage that is reasonably foreseeable. Shaw versus DPP, 1962, AC 220 HL. Conspiracy. Facts: published directory of prostitutes. Issue: can courts create offences? Decision: conviction upheld. Ratio: conspiracy to corrupt public morals recognized. Ridge versus Baldwin, 1964, AC 40 HL. Natural justice. Facts: chief constable dismissed without hearing. Issue: is hearing required before dismissal? Decision: dismissal void. Ratio: duty to act fairly applies to administrative decisions affecting rights. Regina versus Church, 1966, 1 QB 59 UK. Unlawful act manslaughter. Facts: defendant attacked victim who drowned accidentally. Issue: is unlawful act manslaughter applicable if death unintended? Decision: conviction upheld. Ratio: manslaughter can arise from a dangerous unlawful act likely to cause some harm. Anis Minnick Limited versus Foreign Compensation Commission, 1969, 2 AC 147 HL UK. Jurisdictional error. Facts: commission misinterpreted statute and denied compensation. Issue: can error of law nullify decision despite ouster clause? Decision: yes. Ratio: any error of law rendering decision a nullity removes protection of ouster clause.